We did a
We did good. We did very good. Um, we retrieved the piglet and wandered around and found a bunch of kids, brave little soldiers. Um, oh, um, Speaking of brave little soldiers, Banner got to flex his military muscles and set the other toy soldiers out to fucking wallop any red caps that show up. um, uh, we met a dude. His name is in my notes. Elkhorn. Um, who has some friends that are hunting down the League. Um, and I intend to talk to him more about that. We asked Elkhorn to guard the kids while we finished collecting all of them. And as we were escorting them of out of this wretched place, we were faced with the portraits of some elder hag, Tasha, and then the three sisters who all their portraits moved. And I want to say, like, from the bottom of my heart, that the Evelyn painting gave me the like that portrait fucking freaks me the fuck out. It is I love hag shit. That shit got to me. Uh, not in a not in a way that Ted needs to be at all concerned, but like it was incredibly effective. Endelin, thank you.
Endolin, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, Banner tried to flip one of the portraits over, but then it just filled with an image of him.
Everything's fine.
Um, yeah, I am deeply worried about that. Oh, we also found out that Will might have some curse or something on him, transmutive and necromantic and other magic energies on him. Um, and so we've promised to take a look at him and make sure that he is all right once we're safe. Um, and uh, then once all the kids were set off safely, we came back to find Arlen's leg.
Yes, the the children have been saved and sent with Elkhorn following Will's plan back to Little Oak. You had also saved the the dwarven boy. Um,
Oh yeah, the poison boy.
Brudar?
yeah, yeah, Broder, uh, who had mistakenly eaten some nightshade from the garden. Um, you rescued Mishka from her chains in the kitchen, and also let loose a fire elemental that had been bound into the oven. When the children went off with Will and Elkhorn to meet with Little Oak, there was an animated wooden horse outside of Loomlurch that took a snap at them, and there was um uh uh um Mishka, that's the name. I was like, "No, that's not right. That's the mouse," but no, that is the right name. Uh, uh, Released from her captivity had no, I'm sorry. It was the goblin child in one of the weaving rooms who had let you know about the the study that Granny Nightshade used just past the kitchens. She also indicated a way to get into the bedroom without going through the study. However, that required going outside and climbing along the tree and all that jazz. You also defeated the animated doll pincushion that skeeved everyone out so much. Uh, and uh, the little bugbear child Roth gave you a pouch of some sort of magical dust that she had pilfered from the cupboards, the storage cupboards. We wrapped up with you having sent the children off right as they were leaving, and the the sounds that you have heard from outside of Loomlurch to the oh god, what is the compass rose to the right side of the map. Oh wow, this is actually oriented correctly. So to roughly to the east of you, where many of the children, Will included, had indicated the tin soldiers had gone. Those sounds of presumably either battle or preparations for that have faded to nothingness. And other than the sort of empty and creaking sounds of Loomlurch itself, the wooden tree towers that you currently stand at the base of the middle of the three towers, other than the sounds of them sort of rocking in the wind and the wood groaning with that movement, Loomlurch has fallen into an odd sort of silence. You can still smell the molten candy that had been poured onto the floor of the kitchen. A very sweet, um, sugary smell, kind of barely wafting through the door to the north. The painted horse still tosses its head around with a certain amount of feverishness, although for whatever reason it does not move from its spot outside the western door uh, to chase after the children or Elkhorn, whom it had bitten on his way past. And so, with Loomlurch seemingly largely empty at this point, not even the tin soldiers remaining inside, what would you like to do?
We hadn't really looked into the rooms down this hallway, had we?
The through the door to the south, you have not. In fact, you have not
Okay.
even opened those doors at all. There were more urgent matters when you went through there.
Oh, well, there goes Arlen.
Open, 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 open all the doors. Open, open, open. See what's inside.
The doors here are sliding doors. These are not your standard uh, oak doors with the metal bindings that you have become accustomed to having to unlock with Nightshade's keys. The the doors here are simple wood hanging on metal rails, which you are able to slide. They are not locked, and behind these doors, or behind that door at least, is largely crates, mostly opened, filled with basic supplies. There is bolts of fabric and skeins of yarn and spools of thread and other crafting supplies, which you have seen made up in the textile mills. Many of the fabrics that you saw up there are stored here, it would seem.
Okay, storage room. Does anyone want some fabrics and silks and yarn? No? Great. Okay,
I
next
have
door.
enough.
Yeah.
Seemingly another storage room with no light. The only light comes from the sort of moth, uh, um, not covered, but well, I mean covered, but encased is the word I'm looking for. Light in the center of the hallway. This storage room contains basic supplies again. Crafting tools like hammers and nails that you've seen in the workshops. There's boxes of junk and other mundane, um, bric-a-brac is the term used by the book, which I love. There is the only thing that sort of stands out, uh, perched on top of um, one of the crates is a a a very shiny whistle. It's fairly small. If Banner had a mouth, it would be very awkward for him to use because it is so tiny. It is certainly sized for a smaller creature, such as a pixie or perhaps someone of Court's kind, or at least size. Uh, it Unlike everything else here, which has a certain amount of uh, dust or wood shaving kind of coating everything. This is perfectly clean and clear and shiny. It seems to be made of some sort of precious metal, although it is not gold. It is certainly bluer than a silver would be.
Ooh, trinket. Okay. I'll pick that up and show it off to everybody, and then try to blow it.
The only one that hears anything, and it is astoundingly loud for you, is Court. The rest of you see Arlen blow into this whistle with intensity, but hear nothing.
Oh
Oh
shit!
my
Oh
god,
shit! Oh
stop.
shit! Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Oh my god, what? What the fuck?
That is a very funny routine. How long have you two been working on this?
Oh, you know, every other weekend. What is that?
I found it. It looked like a little whistle. I guess it's like a fairy whistle. Like like a I was about to say like a dog whistle. I don't mean to compare you to a dog. You're definitely a person. But
Woo, woo.
um like I guess you could hear it but we can't. That's weird.
That's- Uh, do not use this power for evil, little cheese. I beg of thee.
I feel like this should be in your hands.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That way, like, it doesn't get blown unless you blow it. So, like, you can do it to yourself, but we can't do it to you, you know?
Yes, thank you. I'll take it.
This is a trinket, a tiny electrum whistle that only Faye can hear.
Incredible.
Other than that, the room contains nothing of note. Nothing, certainly nothing exciting. As you slide the final door open, a
Oh, this one's deeper.
an an enormous cloud of moths comes fluttering uh, out of the cupboard. It is, in fact, uh, such a large cloud, it physically forces you back before it dissipates throughout the hallway. The light practically goes out uh, from the number of moths that suddenly find themselves uh, trapped, I suppose, in the hallway, given the doors at either end would have closed behind you all. They're not aggressive or anything like that, and in the center of this cupboard of this room, there is a cocoon, a cocoon of silk standing about 3.5, maybe 4 feet tall. It it doesn't move. There's no expanding and compressing like something was inside breathing, but it is a cocoon of moth silk that stands that tall. Um, the the cupboard itself is full of all sorts of similar to the other two storage rooms, rather mundane items. The shelves are lined with jars of dried herbs. The barrels lie open and have various fruits sitting in water. Um, Dry storage, but for this very strange cocoon.
Can I cast detect magic into this room?
You absolutely can. There are a few faint, very faint sources of magic.
It's very sad.
Not something powerful enough to be a true magical effect, but perhaps a similar to, say, the whistle that you just found.
So, who votes we hack this thing open?
With what hacking? And then suddenly he stops and then looks at Court.
I have a sword.
Court has an axe.
Okay, that's probably better. Mine's more of a poking sword.
Brandish my axe. A little smile.
Great, the clown has an axe.
Hee
This is this is definitely the start of a horror movie. Uh, are you laying into the cocoon with the hatchet?
I look around. Is that what I'm being asked to do? Like, yeah, we're doing this. All right.
I mean, I'll do it if you don't want to.
Mm, I don't know if we should. Is the thing, little cheese.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, some dude just might be sleeping in here, and that would be really rude.
Can I like try to nature check this thing or something?
Yeah, make
I
a
don't
nature
know.
check.
Sleeping.
It sure is a thing.
Perhaps even trapped.
It's possible. I mean, this room was filled with enough moths to like force you back. It would certainly not. No better than check Discord. It would certainly be strange for for one of them to have come from something this size. However,
I don't know. I don't know about cracking random
Yeah,
stuff
I mean, you're
open.
probably right. I could
Could be
try to
full of little
identify it or something.
spiders, little ants. Could be
I
full of little
don't know if identify will get us more than its
beetles.
silk, since you have to make contact with it. I only worry
Mhm.
that we've encountered an Eladrin who'd had his heart taken, and there might be something yet that is a prisoner here.
Maybe little worms could be in there. Maybe cursed worms. Maybe.
Mhm.
Maybe we should check and see if something is in fact stuck in there that would like to come out. Hello?
Hey,
Anything in the cocoon?
No.
Banner, that's a great idea. But maybe, and he looks over at Hemlock, you could do that with your brain waves.
What?
I just cast detect thoughts.
Can you populate that for me?
Sure. Um, it lets me know of thinking things in the vicinity, 30 feet. Um, I don't think it gives me things like location, but I feel like I'd be able to sift through noises. Where the fuck are you? There it is. Ah, yeah. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Penetrates barriers except for 2 feet of rock, 2 inches of metal, or lead, or a thin sheet of lead.
Yeah,
Or
I, I,
3
I
inches of
was
silk, darn.
checking. I was checking the other things about the intelligence score.
Ah.
Well, really the target type, but yes, there is in fact a thinking mind in there. Although to say thinking is perhaps not entirely correct. It is dreaming, sleeping.
What's it dreaming about?
Uh,
About us ripping it open. No, I'm kidding.
you
Sorry.
see images of here in Loomlurch. You see a a familiar swirling in a mirror, and then you find the dream has taken this individual back to the Witchlight Carnival.
Okay, it does recognize the concept and even the location of the Witchlight Carnival. I believe that it might be someone who has perhaps been taken or something. We should, at very least, perhaps. Yeah, I believe. Yes, I think you should. I think you should.
With my what if I hurt them? What if it's
Delicately,
Glyster?
just like surgically open this cocoon.
Little cheese, I do not know how to hack delicately.
Okay,
You know what? I
hack.
do. I do. I do.
I hand Hemlock my axe.
I'm both a tailor and a surgeon. I think I can handle this.
I could also take care of these. And Banner reaches into his crate and is pulling out a battle axe.
Now, how in God's name is this the first we're seeing this?
Well, it is not nearly as fun as using these, and he holds up his fists.
Look, maybe we just make a small incision through the cocoon, and then just like use our hands and pull it apart, nice and soft. I mean, things have to be able to break out of a cocoon, right? Like, can't be that strong.
Banner's putting the battle axe back in the crate.
And Hemlock is entering the room to carefully and delicately slice quickly, layer by layer, through the silk.
As the battle axe is returned to its place and the lid of the crate is closed, and you begin to slice through this cocoon, you pull back the silks and are somewhat startled to see a face staring right at you. A peculiar gray-skinned face of what what could be a small child wearing a pig mask.
Court, you know them?
I I think I isn't this I mean, did you guys see her that night or
He
She was in that tent.
looks at
She
all
let
of you.
us.
Why have you woken me up? Do I need to go back?
we were we were scared you were in trouble? Are you who do you work for? Have you been taking everyone?
Taking everyone? What do you mean?
Asking them to follow you here.
Yes, I fetch the people that Granny Nightshade is owed.
Willingly? Or as a
Well, I can't
favor?
take them otherwise.
I mean your services.
Oh, yeah. Well, uh, Granny awakened me, so yes, I return the favor. Who are
Awakened?
you?
What do you
Where
mean
is?
awakened?
Oh, I was a mindless husk before Nightshade gave me my mind back.
She gave you purpose.
So, do you see Nightshade as kind of like a parental figure? Like think of her as your own grandmother kind of thing. The kind of person you'd be upset at learning about their death. You know what I mean?
I don't have I don't have those sort of feelings anymore.
Mm.
Is there anything else you long for, you wish to do, you dream of?
If I'm not needed, can I return to my sleep?
Is that what you wish? Is that what you desire?
It is what I do between tasks.
If no one ever wakes you up again, will you just sleep forever?
She turns her head to look at you, um, tilts her neck a little unnervingly, and takes a single step out of the cocoon, which uh, no longer able to rest on her shoulders, just collapses to the ground completely. You're familiar. Have we met?
Oh, I've met a lot of people. You know, I get around. I've got a very familiar face. You know, um, like I'll just be walking down the street and someone's like, "Oh my God, is that?" No, no, it couldn't be. Like I just, you know,
I mean, you probably have met though. She might have been around when,
no, yeah, I'm kidding. Actually, I'm pretty sure you stole my foot when I was 8 years old.
It seems so long ago, I suppose.
About 8 years.
have you been sleeping since then?
Probably stealing a bunch of other feet.
Mm,
Freak.
I don't
well,
know.
well,
Time passes so strangely.
we killed Granny Nightshade, so uh you don't have to do anything if you don't want to. If you want to go back to sleep, you can go back to sleep. If you want new tasks, we can give you new tasks.
You mentioned that you have killed Granny Nightshade, and she immediately snarls at you.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't. Ah, This was a trick. You said you didn't care.
I said I had no feelings. She gave me purpose.
That
We are going to
that
dive
sounds
into
like feelings to
what
me.
is going to be a very short initiative.
Those sound like feelings to me.
Ugh. This is gonna feel like a little bit bad because this does appear to be like empty vessel slash a child, but also she is freaky as fuck, so I would like to see her dusted, thank you.
She didn't exist before Granny Nightshade. I don't think she needs to after.
Oliver, initiative.
Oh shit, sorry. I was just sitting here staring.
Okay. You are up first.
Mm. I would like to. Where am I? Where's the?
Real quick. The door is over here by Arlen.
I want to get in there. Should probably measure my. I just want to try to grapple her, we think.
Okay. Make an athletics check. Yeah, you dart past everyone, and you have your hands on this individual. They are only a little bit taller than you, so
Hey, listen, we can give you purpose. There are other things. Also, these are feelings. You definitely lied about that.
anything for a bonus action.
Um, I do not believe so, no.
Okay. Arlen, you are up.
And I should really look into swapping a spell or two out. That way I don't only have psychic damage that I can deal. Not that that wouldn't work here, but guys, what do you think about me just turning them into a caterpillar and us getting out of here? It won't last forever.
Well,
Mm.
there are little ones to think about, so maybe we just.
Okay, never mind. And he'll hold his candle up to his face and blow at the flame, and instead of flickering out, a little beam of energy like hits her in the forehead. I end up casting Mind Sliver.
Yep. Yeah. That definitely failed that save.
Okay. 3 psychic damage and disadvantage minus D4 on the
D4
next
on the
saving
next
throw.
save. Okay. Any movement? Anything else?
Ooh, nope. I think that's it.
Banner.
All right. I'm going to waltz in here and simply ask, where is Olin's foot? And then I will try and knock this individual out. Non-lethal damage, please.
That will hit. Okay.
And second verse, same as the first.
That will also hit. And
then-
with
Yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say, and with that, the snarling ceases as this individual, despite your best efforts, the body seems to while this person has had the appearance of life, it becomes immediately apparent that there was in fact not a living creature here. Despite your best efforts, the body actually begins to deteriorate almost instantly. This was not a person who was alive to be knocked unconscious.
Banner turns around. Alan, I am sorry. I thought you would subdue them and they would tell us where your foot was. I apologize.
No worries, no worries. I'm sure we'll come across it when we check out the study. If not, like I can still do the little seance thing and get the spirits to help me find it.
Very well. Banner will just start tossing this room, see if there's anything interesting in here.
Besides the creepy cocoon girl.
Well, she turned into dust.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, can't really knock ghouls unconscious, unfortunately.
Oh God.
Almost
Ghoul,
like hags
please.
are.
Oh my God.
Adam, get out.
Adam,
Oh, I thought you were gonna
Adam.
give him inspiration.
Adam, please never
Oh,
leave.
I'm still going to do that, but
But then leave.
But it doesn't have to be an either-or situation.
tossing the room, there are three things that stand out. There is tucked into tucked into one of the many crates within this room, you do find and I oh no, you cast detect thoughts, so detect magic would be down. But in one of the spots where you saw a faint magical glow, a small crystal orb about 2 or so inches across. Inside what looks like clear glass is a constantly moving swirl of it almost looks like blue vapor, but it doesn't have the like curling nature of like smoke. I guess real world I would compare it to like a nebula or something like that. But this is sort of a powder blue, and with sparkles of silver inside this um, crystal orb. There is a small music box not top, yeah, sitting on top. I can speak, I swear, of the tallest bookshelf, which is still not taller than you. It's about 3 or 4 inches on a side. It has a little crank on one side. And the final item that you find sitting on a crate's lid is um, a small clockwork frog. It is made from brass, and it has a key similar to the one that you saw in Granny Nightshade's back, actually, sticking out of the where the spine would be of the frog. Its eyes are tiny little red crystals. It does not move at the moment. Beyond that, the items here, like I said before, are mostly mundane supplies, cooking supplies. This seems to be some sort of larder, basically. Got my paper still. 1 second. Okay, carry on. Other than the creepy pig-shaped mask made out of leather and the rotten remains of her clothes, the ghoul child had absolutely nothing on her.
No half-eaten lollipop lying around.
Nope. It has been apparently some time since they might have had a lollipop.
Okay. Banner would like to pick up the frog, how big is this frog? Does it fit in like the palm of his hand?
Yeah, it's about 3 inches
Okay,
circular-ish.
cool. Yeah, Banner's gonna wind the key up and set the frog back down.
You wind up the frog, and it doesn't immediately move, but begins to. Oh, we lost someone.
That was Ollie, and he's
Uh-oh.
offline now, so that might be an internet bug, maybe?
Yep.
Sorry.
All good?
Yeah, Discord glitch. Sorry.
Okay.
You wind up the frog. It doesn't begin to hop or anything, but it stares at you. Its eyes blink twice, and it croaks. The I forget what that thing on its throat is called. Expand. You know how frogs
Mhm.
croak, and it croaks once, and it looks at you.
Ugh.
This does not seem like a very fun toy at all.
Ugh. Leave it.
It is.
Cord's like grimacing at it.
Curious to find a frog artifact here. Lorna had many, and it was within one that we found Court's wings, but just seems strange in here, comparatively.
Do you think this contains Arlen's leg, like the other frog contained Cold's wings?
Oh, no.
No, I don't think so. But and I'll cast Detect Magic and just look at it.
The orb and the music box both radiate magic. It is, like I said, kind of weak. The frog itself. I gotta look at the school of it is magic. The frog, and it is evocation. I was right. Why do I doubt myself?
Those two things seem potentially interesting. And he points towards the box and orb. And this thing says it has evocation magic, which could either just be the energy created to make it move, or else it could just burst into flames.
Or heal you.
Yes, sort of what I meant with the first sentiment, but yes.
Oh, I thought you meant just like magic making it work. Well, I mean, only way to find out is to mess with it. Or I guess identify it, but that's
Yes,
more
yes.
boring. You have to mess with it a little bit to identify it, so
I can do either thing for any of these things. How many identify scrolls do we still have? We have 2.
Mhm.
Would you like one?
Sure. I'll use a scroll to identify the frog.
I have not created a handout for this. This is a brass wind-up frog that you wind it up, you say a name, and it will allow you to cast the sending spell. It can do this once a day.
Mm,
Oh my god.
That's pretty cool.
That is really cool. I mean, would one of you like to hang on to this? Because I can just do that. It costs me a spell slot. Like this would be a free one. But one of you who
What
can't do that, it might be more useful for.
what does this spell do?
You can send a message to anyone, anywhere, on any plane of existence.
I would
Though
like
if
the
they're on a
frog,
different
please.
plane of existence.
Give it to Banner. Give it to Banner. Give it to Banner right now.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Oh fuck yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Sorry.
That's right.
What?
That's right. Heck yeah. Not the other one.
I'll pass it over to Banner.
Thank you.
Are you using the frog? Or are
Not
you
right now.
just holding on to, okay.
Oh, I really thought he was about to do it.
Yeah, I did too.
So we
were
and-
all
and
just
everything
sitting
went
waiting.
quiet.
No. Well, he'll look around at everyone and be like, "Well, no, it is. We have more important business in this moment. It has been 8 years. It can't wait for 2 or 3 more moments."
All right, foot first.
Yes, we must get on the good foot.
That too.
Ba-doops.
What's the box do when it's opened? And you said it was a music box, right?
Have a little crank.
Yeah, I'll give it a little crank.
You wind it up for a few seconds, and it begins to play the sort of metal chip tune that you'd expect from a music box. Court, you hear the sound of the calliope from the Witchlight Carnival. You know,
Oh.
that, but done in the in the brass tang ting sound, ting tang sound of a music box. Arlen, you also hear the calliope music, sort of the same brass echoey noise. Banner, what you hear, somehow this music box is creating the sound of a marching drum. You are hearing the very similar to the sound produced by the soldier drum that you met not too long ago. A marching cadence sending you not into battle or anything like that, but just on a march. You are keeping cadence. That you are traveling. This is a traveling march for Hemlock. You hear the chamber music that you became familiar with as a child. The sort of the combination of harp and harpsichord that you experienced from the many parties which your parents hosted within Cross Hollow Estate, the dredging up basically the memory of learning the basic, I don't want to say courtly duties because it wasn't really court, but the things expected of um, people of position and wealth within the city of Flame.
he'll play it through once and then just sit with it in his hands for a while and staring at it, and then just absolutely silently holds it out for someone else to take.
Art'll take it.
And then I'll like, inspect the orb as well.
Other than the strange flickering silver and blue swirl within the middle of this glass orb, there is nothing that immediately stands out. Um, the very, very faint and sort of weak aura of illusion magic is on the orb, but it doesn't seem to cast a spell, and there's nothing that becomes immediately apparent from handling it or anything like that. Whatever it does, it would seem to do passively.
Hmm. Is it that the what is within it is illusion, or like the? Never mind. I don't think I get that question answered. Yeah, we'll just pocket that for now.
How big is the orb?
I am
Is it
holding up my hands like you can see what I am doing. It is about 2 inches, 2.5 inches in diameter.
okay? Okay.
About the
Uh,
size of a small arcane focus, but
yeah.
not quite that size.
I was just wondering if it was like crystal ball sized, but it is not.
Mm-mm.
A crystal ball I could use as a focus, but not a little orb.
We can identify that later.
Yeah. Right. Well, onwards and upwards.
Yes, sir.
Um, Past the kitchen, is Nightshade's study, as you were told by Mishka. And oh boy, what was the goblin child's name? Yvelda, that was it. Beyond that, the only two places you have not been both lead outside. Funny, let go of my mouse cursor. I'm gonna just
Mhm.
drag you all back up to the kitchen. Although, not really. Going through the kitchens and into. You do have to use Nightshade's key once again to open the door into the base of the third tower. This room is considerably taller than the other areas you've been in Loom Lurch. The walls of this room are lined with bookshelves that, on their own, would go up about 2 stories. These bookshelves climb roughly 20 feet into the air, each one with uh, uh, a ladder that is attached to the top of it down the center for reaching the upper levels. There's a staircase that climbs along the northwestern side of the room up the tower to what you have been told um, is Nightshade's bedroom. The bookshelves are covered in curtains of moss and ivy, which do obscure the spines of the just untold numbers of books that rest on these shelves. Built into the uh, the easternmost bookshelf on the first on the ground level, directly in the center, where the bottom of the ladder would be on any of the other shelves, you see a mirror. This is very reminiscent of the one that you saw in the bottom of Bavlorna's cottage. A grime covered and moss hidden mirror, which does not show you your own reflection, but rather peers into the Hall of Illusions within the Witchlight Carnival. You know it's the Witchlight Carnival because of the familiar butterfly wings, which are worn by all of the patrons. Occasionally, you get a glimpse of some of the staff that you have seen before. You see Lyral the Knoll, who is carrying out someone who who decided to try to get behind the mirrors. You see a number of guests going through. The um, the other feature of the room that stands out is, of course, the desk sort of sitted situated so that anyone sitting at the desk can peer over the top of it to look at said mirror. It is covered in pieces of parchment and scroll work. There is a bottle of ink with a quill resting in it, and oddly, even for the w- odd because it is the only thing that would tell you that this library was not owned by a well, odd because it is the one hag accoutrement that stands out. A human skull rests on top of the desk. This is an old roll top desk which sits open. And while there are no actual candles or anything, flickering firelight from the skull's eye sockets lights up the room.
So do you think that's just like uh, a lantern, or do you think there's something more nefarious there?
Hemlock doesn't really look at Arlen as he begins going through the desk, and mumbles to the skull, "Just going to sit there, are you?" And then begins looking for anything here.
Mhm.
The There is no answer from the skull, although you would swear for half a second that you just hear a chuckling sound coming from within the bleached jaw and behind the broken teeth. The things that stand out on the desk, there is a clockwork toad, not too dissimilar from the one that Banner now carries, except this one is considerably smaller, and it lacks uh, the the precious stones for eyes. This is just a tiny copper toad that clicks with a much more mechanical sound. The bottle of ink on the desk, and the quill that is tucked inside it. The quill is tipped with bone instead of you would expect either the quill tip to simply be cut or you would expect the metal tip. This one is tipped in bone. And the last thing that stands out is a small hourglass inside which a varnished human eyeball rests in this atop the sand, and as the sand falls from the top portion of the hourglass, it slides off the eyeball, and the eyeball never sinks. It always rests on top of the mound of sand. Um, this small hourglass is hung from what would appear to be a necklace made of hair. Y- It's possible it's even Scabatha's hair. It's hard to say, but it's the right color. Or, well, no, maybe that's Bavlorna's hair. You're not really sure.
I'd like to cast Detect Magic, focusing on this first, lifting the hourglass so that I am making eye contact with the eye, the very somber and intense stare.
The hag, the eye radiates magic, divination magic, uh, very strongly. Although, as you watch, the magic does very, very faintly and gradually begin to fade, as though some of the power that has gone into the creation of this item has already been disrupted.
Would it
The
s-
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Would it be reasonable to assume that since like I had her eye, um, this is like the connection focus to her eye? Or does that feel like too weird of two things to be connecting?
The magic that was on, or the magic that is on this definitely seems considerably more powerful than what was on the wooden eye that you had.
Mm.
Excuse me. And in fact, 1 second.
Had died.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh,
Um,
good.
it the magic on this pendant that you have is considerably more powerful. Even beginning to fade, it is still far more powerful than the other item, the other eye that you have. That's a weird way to say that. Um, it is certainly more powerful, and definitely looks like it was not made by one person alone.
Mm. I'll bag this as well.
The ink and quill pen on the desk both radiate magic. The ink is transmutative, and the quill pen is conjurative. Strangely enough, the little frog is not magic.
Yeah, I want to take those as well. He's just very quietly and kind of severely like pawing through these things and then shoving them into his bag.
There is a little cork on the desk to stopper the bottle of ink, which uh, as you pull the quill out, you can see that the ink is a very bright crimson color.
Are we ready to continue?
Um, did anyone else hear the skull chuckle?
Yes.
Well, we're just gonna like. Okay, all right, cool.
Unlock doesn't seem
I
worried about it.
I am out of here.
What does he think he's going to do? And he like shoots a dirty look back at the skull.
Oh, All
Sits
right.
there with light coming out of its eyes and its teeth. Not really bared, but certainly that skeletal grin.
Huh.
Okay, well, on to the staircase I shall go.
You all upstairs. For all that you have seen in Loomlurch, this room is possibly the most perplexing sight, simply because it doesn't seem like it fits. Where the rest of Loomlurch has been devoted to the design tastes, shall we say, of a very ancient hag. The rooms that you have been through are um sorry, is that not lit? That should be lit. I don't know why it's
Yeah,
not
it
lit.
did not light up.
Bloop. Sorry about that. Don't know why they didn't put a light source in. Um this room has an order and a cleanliness to it which has been absent from just about everywhere else here in Loomlurch. The bed is made, the sheets tightly tucked and covered in a patchwork quilt. The dressers are covered in ornamental figures without a speck of dust, all perfectly aligned, just so. The um the there is a wooden rocking cradle, which has a very neatly folded blanket. Everything is precise and just so, with a couple oddities on the nightstand next to the bed is a glass bell jar, inside of which a a number of the moths that you have seen in the hallway just flutter around a a single lit branch. And there is no dust on this jar. There is nothing odd about it other than its presence, which makes the dollhouse that it is sitting next to stand out even more. The dollhouse, where everything else is clean and precise and orderly, the dollhouse here is, finally found it. It's roughly 3 feet tall. It is covered in moss and mold. The paint has faded from what was clearly once bright shining reds and beautiful greens, has now faded considerably where it has not chipped or begun to peel. The the joints and areas where there would be brass nails or tacks to hold it together, the there is clearly water that has run and pulled the color of the brass down onto the painted outside of this dollhouse. There is a a set of brass hinges on the back of the roof that have clearly seen better days. They are rusted and have begun to change to the sort of dark. If you've ever seen like when copper or something blackens when it gets wet, they are they have definitely seen a considerable amount of time.
Arlen is looking around for anything that he can stick his arm into.
Oh my god.
Uh, I don't know, guys. Maybe we should just start like ransacking the place, busting this place apart. Well, we'll check the closets first. I'll come over to this door over here.
Okay. You pull back the door, which is not locked, like so many of uh, the other doors that you have been through. Instead, you find a small room on the edges and on arranged on the walls of which are a number of old, empty birdhouses, which instead of freestanding from a chain or something like you would normally think, each one has been uh, nailed kind of at an angle to the wall. If you imagine the where you would normally hook a birdhouse to like a chain or an extended post, somebody has not bothered to do that. They have simply taken a large nail and driven it into the wall of Loomlurch. The cages themselves, the resting on the on the bird rest, which hangs askew, to well, I mean, it hangs straight up and down, but that puts it askew from the very tilted bird cage, are a number of small mechanical sparrows. They look very much like they have been constructed in the same vein as the little toad that was sitting on the desk below, and carved over one of there are two windows in this room, and carved above one of which is the word hither, and carved above the other is the word yon. There are a pair of small writing desks, not nearly as fancy as the roll top desk downstairs, but just like a flat, essentially a small table with a drawer. There is one under each window, upon which sits a number of parchments and a quill pen.
Okay, I mean, it looks like this is just kind of a messaging station. A little less gruesome than the one Bavlorna had. There's some robot birds in there. I'll move over to the other door.
Unfortunately, it simply opens out onto a small balcony. You can see out over Loomlurch and towards the forest. Let go. Roll 20. Let go. Thank you. You can see off into the area of the forest that has been largely cut down, um, for I at least probably half of your view to the horizon. The trees have all been felled, or where they have not been felled, they carry the same blight that you saw in the Dryad Grove, where instead of being cut down, the trees are simply blackened and leafless.
Hmm. Okay, well, we explored the closets. I'm gonna investigate this little cradle here. Pull the blankets out. And
You pull the blanket out. There is nothing underneath them. Embroidered on the blanket that you yank out is the name Cradlefall, and a very stylized, if crudely done embroidery of a green dragon.
Okay, I guess this was a cradle for a baby dragon. No foot in there though.
I'm looking at the dollhouse and the uh moths under the bell glass. I'll use detect magic.
The glass jar is not magical. The jar contains, like I said, about a half dozen. I think I said about a half dozen moths that you are fairly certain, if left in here too long, will die. There is nothing for them to eat, and while it is not hermetically sealed, this is definitely not any way for these creatures to live. The dollhouse itself radiates abjurative magic.
Okay. Did you say there was a glowing stick inside the jar?
Yeah, there is
Okay.
a stick that glows faintly, some phosphorescence.
Okay. I'm gonna let the moths out.
You lift the jar, the glass bell from its placard, and the moths fly out the window and into Moonlight, or into thither, wherever we are.
um, Arlen, perhaps you should come over here.
All right, yeah, okay. Dollhouse. This was kind of the one I suspected the most, but I was saving it for last. Um, did you say you saw some magic on it?
Yes, abjurative.
Should I cast a little abjurative magic of my own and get rid of it?
Would be intelligent.
Okay, I'll cast spell magic.
Okay. You don't even need to check. The uh, the the abjurative weave that has been settled over specifically the lid of this, or I mean, I say lid, where the hinges are, of this dollhouse unravels and fades away.
Looks like you've done it. You're muted.
All right, well let's crack this bad baby open, and I'll open the lid.
Inside this dollhouse is a very grandiose, if decrepit, manor. Essentially, the furniture, much like here in the room, you see a bed with a quilt exceedingly similar to the one by which you stand, but the bed, instead of being a simple mattress on a wooden frame, is instead a four poster with a very flowing, not veil, but the drapery that goes on a four poster bed.
Bed curtains.
um, the the interior of this room is I'm sorry, of this dollhouse is very grandiose, but very both decrepit, as though it has not seen care in some time. It also carries with it a sort of gloomy and dour air. The colors are largely muted. The the furniture is stark and very well made, but not. There's no engravings. It's not fancy. It is functional. I mean, modernly we would probably refer to it as a little bird list. Um, the Why does my computer keep going to sleep? I turned that off. Um, the immediate thing, as you lift the lid of this dollhouse, the attic level, essentially, there are a few items that stand out because they are full size. They are clearly kept here and not meant to be part of the dollhouse itself. There are some fancy slippers. There is a hand mirror and a lantern, a a small lantern with not transparent, translucent glass core, but no light coming from within it. Um, the moment that you spot it, the final ticking sound fades away. The sound that has followed you, that even the death of Scabatha certainly muted, but did not eliminate, that sound finally stops, and for the first time, you have a moment, however brief, of pure quiet.
I start pulling objects out one by one and like saving that for like the last thing, and just very like solemnly like setting them on like the bed next to me and like lining them up, and then grab uh the thing that was stolen from me finally, uh very slowly.
You take the copper handle, the wire handle of this lantern, which is it is only a little bit taller than, say, the candle that you have carried with you since you have arrived here in Prismere. You take the handle, which makes no sound as it goes from resting against the core of the lantern until you are pulling the contraption out of the dollhouse entirely. There is a a moment where you're almost convinced that this must be wrong because nothing happens. You don't feel any different. You don't. There is certainly none of the the show at first that you saw when Court's wings returned. And you're standing there for just a moment, realizing that, or not realizing, but feeling this strange sort of lack. And if man, if only you could just scratch this itch and maybe solve the problem. And that sound is not carrying through. I'm tapping my foot, but I will just bang my desk. Um, the it it is a moment later that you realize, unconsciously, that you are tapping the foot that for so long has had no sensation, no feeling. It is almost like the worst case of pins and needles from a sleeping foot. It only lasts a few seconds as as you bang your foot on the ground and the wood echoes the patter of your little foot on the ground. And that is the wrong pane. Let me pop up your lantern. The rest of you, much like with Court, when Court's wings returned, you all see the change seemingly before Arlen realizes that that his foot has returned. The sort of ghostly aspect of Arlen's foot slowly solidifies, where it was a pale translucence that somehow maintained the weight of his body before. Starting from the ground up, there is a sort of flickering from within the apparition of his foot, a a flickering a flickering light that, as it touches uh the various elements of the ghost limb, solidify into a solid fur that matches the rest of your friend.
Guys, I think today's my lucky day. Okay, that was a bad joke, but I've been waiting a long time to say it.
It's an excellent joke. Congratulations. I am very happy for you.
Yes, congratulations.
It looks as good as your other food.
Yeah.
You know, there was a part of me, like, deep down, that was very worried that I was gonna, like, find an 8-year-old's foot, you know?
Yes, admittedly, that was something I was very worried about.
Okay, well. Also, check out this really cool lantern, and it's glowing pink. It's very cool.
It's quite nice. I particularly happy because I have a difficult time seeing in the dark. So anything that illuminates, I am in favor of.
Okay, all right. Well, oh shoot, I've almost forgot all these other things. And he points to the stuff he lined up on the bed. Hemlock, do any of those look cool?
Detect magic?
They look cool, but they are not magic. There is a very fine pair of purple velvet slippers, embroidered with patterns of stars and constellations, and the other is a hand mirror, the reflective surface of which is cracked, but the body of the hand mirror is covered in various precious stones, most of which are fairly small, but still they certainly make a pattern. It is quite gaudy, this little mirror.
I shake my head to Arlen, but then hold the shoes out to somebody who has feet.
Not those kind of feet.
Banner looks Court dead in the eye with two spots on the leather disc on his face and slowly reaches out for the slippers.
Yeah, you take him. You take him.
Oh, well, if you insist. And he immediately puts them on.
Were you wearing boots before? I never thought
Nope.
to ask. Okay, I didn't think so. I mean, these are just very, very well made little house slippers.
Yeah, I imagine they're purple and fuzzy. And if I'm lucky, they're sort of a little wispy.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Little tiny bit of lace around the opening. Yeah.
Yep, love it.
I'll hold the mirror and say, I think we should give this to Will as a sort of trophy. I think he would find that gesture appreciated.
Yes.
Yeah.
sounds like an excellent idea.
Yeah.
Is there any place else we should search out before returning to Will and the Getaway Gang?
Believe that was all, except for the outer gardens, but we'd already been through some of them and have no need of, I feel, interfering with the goblins. They'll sort themselves out or they won't, just as the bullywugs had.
On the subject of goblins, you do remember that Chucklehead had asked you to had asked you to look out for Mishka. That was one of the things that had driven him to bring you here into Loomlarch in the first place.
Oh, one of the children we'd already spoken with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. On our way out, we could inform Chucklehead that everyone is safe, and we can all find our way to Little Oak.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these items we can spend some time identifying once there, and we can give Will a proper once-over for whatever might be stuck on him.
Very well.
Pro tip: gummy candies, bad idea when you're the DM. Just
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nah,
Could be.
impossible.
Could be.
You make your way down the stairs and through the study, and actually run into Chucklehead in the kitchens. He and Clapperclaw have clearly very, very slowly and very, very timidly and terrifiedly made their way through Loomlarch. And as they see you coming through the stairs, or I'm sorry, through the study door into the kitchen, Clapperclaw, as much as a gourd can be said to brighten up, immediately clangs his little metal claws together a few times. So looks like you've had a very successful time here. What now?
One sister yet lives.
Chucklehead peers around from the kiln, or from the oven. I don't know why I keep calling it a kiln. Peers around from the oven. Hey, you, Mishka was supposed to be here in the kitchens.
We
Tell
found
me you got her out, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a relief. See, I told you, Polly. I told you. Fine, they'd be fine.
Excuse me, who?
Polly, the worm.
Ah,
Polly.
the worm's name is Polly, I understand.
Yeah, I thought I introduced you. Didn't I introduce? I swear I introduced you.
You
It
did,
is entirely possible. It has been a busy day, and perhaps it has slipped my mind. I apologize, Polly.
Yeah, he says that's understandable. Oh.
Very gracious, brain-eating worm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Looks like you got your thing back. Good for you. Good for you. Glad to see it. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Sometimes whenever I get really excited, I get put into like a stunned silence. It's easier for me to talk a lot whenever I'm not like, processing emotions and stuff. I'm really, really, stoked, but kind of still last time whenever I was a kid, whenever you grow up without something like that, it makes it a really big deal whenever it finally comes back. And so I'm just kind of like, just remembering it every now and then, just like, hopping up and down and like, oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. Sorry, I'm kind of like vomiting my words right now. Okay, well, I'm gonna. Thanks.
No, just thank you all for helping the kids, for getting Mishka out of here. Just wherever she's gone, just tell her I'm glad she's okay. Uh, I mean, we'll keep the market here open. Uh, might actually bring back some actual workers instead. Did you get rid of Nightshade's little helper?
Which one?
The little grey fiend. Yes, it is unmade.
Oh, phew.
Dusted.
And what about the soldiers? I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do about the red caps, but they tend to leave us alone in the market. They go off the other direction.
The soldiers have been reassigned to destroy any red caps that they find.
Oh,
We
So,
should ensure that order is a standing order.
also, I would advise nobody wear red hats anymore.
Ever?
he looks up at the toffee apple that serves as his head. Okay. Very
I'm sure
glad
that's
for
fine.
the
That's a
toffee
red
covering.
head, like just don't put like a pointy red hat on or like a sock soaked in blood. Maybe get a cloak with a hood. I don't know. I don't actually think you're in danger. I don't think you have to worry about it. That was more of a joke, but honestly, if you've got any little kiddos running around with like a bright red hat, maybe, don't do that.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you again. I'm gonna go let the market know that we're good to go, and like I said, just tell Mishka I'm happy for her.
Yes, we will pass that message along. Say, have we checked the cabinets and cupboards here in the kitchen?
I don't believe we have.
Banner will start aimlessly opening cabinets.
The majority of the cabinets here in the kitchen are filled largely with what you would expect to find in a kitchen. The shelves are crowded full of jars of fungi and pickled vegetables, pickled grubs, bits of like the ends of moldy bread. Uh, Pulling open one of the cupboards over by the oubliette, however, does and this was where Hemlock, you had seen a magical radiance before, an incredibly well crafted longsword and a very finely made shield that bears an iconography similar to what you had seen on the clothing of Elkhorn. There is
Let him go without this.
he didn't know where it was.
Yeah, sure. Just.
um Sitting near the dwarves items is a very ornately etched golden hourglass. Um, the the amount of sand is perhaps not enough for a full hour, but the item itself is still very, very well crafted.
Definitely looking at that with the tech magic.
It the hourglass itself is not magical. There is an aura of enchantment magic coming from one of the numerous cookbooks lining these shelves, however. And the longsword is, of course, magical. The shield is.
Oh, weird. I'm gonna use Mage Hand to pull out the enchantment book.
The book is written in the cover rather, which depicts a mortar and pestle and a number of colored vials, or vials full of colored potions, is written entirely in Elvish. Um, the the book itself is actually not what is magical. Opening it up, you find a piece of root, a gnarled vine about a foot long, which is serving as sort of a bookmark and is radiating enchantment magic. Um, the the um, the magic is reminiscent more of a this is a focus for a particular spell rather than this um, item itself is like a magic wand or anything like that. It serves as a focus for another spell somewhere.
This appears to be component or casting focus for something that I don't think I would ever be particularly familiar with, or have the potential to even learn out of my book. We could take it to identify it if we wished, but I don't see any reason we need to, unless kind of extends it with the mage hand towards Arlen or uh, Court.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I've got this lantern here that's a good focus, but I can hang on to it for a while. Or
We can at least add it to the
I'm-
things to identify.
Yeah,
sounds
I'm
good.
sorry, I was not clear. This is not like a magic wand. This is not an arcane focus or anything like that. In the same way that you would use, I'm trying to think of a spell.
Just a
Um,
component.
it's not a component. It is uh in this. Well, I'm going to go high level here. But in the same way that you would need a receptacle to cast Soul Jar, you would need a jar. That jar is not magical.
Oh.
Uh, it is the same way here. This somebody has done magic somewhere into someone, and this serves as a focus, an anchor, I suppose, is a better word for whatever that spell was.
Uh, can I try to break that? Just break
Uh,
the stick?
the stick itself does not yield.
Okay, I think. Could I perhaps make an Arcana check to see if casting Dispel Magic or something on this would break the enchantment, or if I took this with us and we investigated it further, would it be capable of breaking the enchantment, or is that just like a waste of time?
Go ahead and make the Arcana check.
Oy.
So you know that casting that trying to dispel the magic off of this would not work. You would need to find whatever creature or object is actually under the effects of the magic itself. This is and having experienced the way that hags sort of do their magic and the way that their focusing works, you would guess that there is a plant creature somewhere, perhaps a dryad or something else, because you've run into those before, that is missing a portion of itself. And this until it is made whole, this spell cannot be broken.
Okay, thank you. That's a generous response for 13. um,
I mean, you have run into enough, and your friends have been missing certainly pieces of themselves long enough that it follows pretty easily.
Perhaps on our way to Little Oak, we could give this to the living dryad in her circle, and she could find whichever of her kind this belongs to. I don't know that we have the faculties to seek that out ourselves, and perhaps even she or one of her sisters knows them personally.
I do want to be clear. I was using dryad as an example of plant creature, not
Yeah, but that I
okay.
think is the only plant creature we've bumped into that I can that I'm recalling, at least here in Thither.
Yeah,
That's why I'm saying, like, if we bring it to her, I feel like she, especially with like tree telepathy or whatever limited resources they have, she'd probably have an easier time finding them than we will, who cannot speak to trees.
valid, fair.
Like I'm fully planning on passing this fucking book because I don't know. Unless anyone else has any better ideas.
I mean, I feel like you've got the right of it.
Then we'll do that. Unless any of you, and he looks at Clapperclaw and Chucklehead if they're still here.
Clapperclaw is Chucklehead has gone back to the Goblin Market.
Okay, that's right. That's right. I doubt that Clapperclaw might. He's been away, but
Oh, are you
oh
asking
wait,
me? Oh,
hold on. Easy task. Clapperclaw, why don't you take this to the Giants? There we go.
uh, I can definitely do that. Um, lem I'll go with you, as far as the little ones first, if and then no, wait, that's the other direction. Okay, I think I can
I think between the tin soldiers and the and um the ending of the reign of Scabatha, you stand a substantial chance of not being accosted on your way.
alright. I can do that, yeah. Yeah, I can do that. And he very, very gingerly takes the gnarled piece of vine out of your hands and begins to walk all the way back through the parlor rather than risking the doors here in the kitchen. Um, before I thank you for helping this place. It has been a long time since anyone here has felt hope, I think.
I give him a thumbs up.
He very awkwardly opens his claws in a poor approximation of a thumbs up and then turns to go. All right. The other than heading to the Red Cap Garden, you all were planning on returning to Little Oak. You know the fastest way there is through the door to the gardens in the middle tower. That is where Will indicated Little Oak would be basically just straight out that door. Keep going till you run into the tree. And is there anything else you wanted to do while you were in Loon Larch? Did you want to check in on the tin soldiers or no?
I would encourage us to ensure the fact that they're not just gonna like wallop one and then wander off. Uh, if we can, it'd be really cool if we could just say like, forever and ever, your charge is to kill all red caps on sight. Like,
Yeah, I concur with that.
Mhm.
In that case, heading out through the door that Will indicated that he had seen the tin soldiers go out. You, I guess I could not the navigator there, but there. You find yourself standing in a very uh what is 50-ish foot diameter area under a group of willow trees. The ground here has been torn up. It would almost look tilled if it wasn't very clear that whatever had come out of it had torn it up from underneath instead of going across it. The mangled bodies of a number of red caps, as well as the still forms of some of the tin soldiers, are strewn about this area. There are a few red caps, not the dude, but like the mushroom looking tip of their hat poking through the ground, but they have been trampled and crushed, and the remaining tin soldiers stand stock still. Drum is standing there in the middle of the line, not line, but in with his back to the door. The others are sort of fanned out around um, the patch in a large circle. And as you come down the hallway, or not the hallway, the walkway, uh, Drum turns in place and uh, salutes Banner with one of the drum mallets that it has been carrying.
I will return that salute. Excellent work, soldier. It is unfortunate that you have suffered the losses that you have, but it seems you have made quick work of the red caps. Are there any more that need dispatching?
Well, I don't think so. They, without Nightshade here to feed their growth, I imagine that once this last batch, and he gestures to the few broken caps that still peek just barely out of the loam of the ground beneath these trees. Once they've grown enough to be crushed correctly, this area should be clear. We will, of course, be happy to stand guard until such a time. And beyond, if necessary, to ensure that none follow this batch.
But it sounds wonderful. I think it would be an excellent idea to make sure that the red caps never again cause harm here in Thidea. What will you and your men do while you are waiting?
Watch. Sort of
I
gestures around at all of the tin soldiers who are standing stock still, staring at the ground, as
and
much as they can stare with drawn on faces.
and you have no concern that either the soldiers or yourself might want more than just to watch.
Hmm. Until our mission is complete, it will be enough to wait and watch. When we are certain that there are no more coming, we will take these soldiers back to their barracks where they can be repaired.
Hmm.
And then we will wait.
Well, it is very noble, and I and my friends would appreciate it very much if you would keep watch and make sure that things remain safe now that Nightshade is gone. Um, and to that end, I don't think that I would feel very comfortable knowing that you and your men were sitting and waiting idly while just in case the Red Caps return. So when you have downtime, perhaps you could teach the others, and I will give him my dragon chess set.
He, the drum unit, what's the word? Hangs the mallets on the hooks on its torso that are designed to hold them, and very gingerly takes the dragon chess set from you. It turns its faceless head to regard you, and if it had eyes, would be looking directly into the eyes that are on your current leather disc,
Mhm.
and draws himself up, and I shall endeavor to make them worthy of this gift. I have very little to offer in return. I am a simple drum unit, but you may, I hope, find some value in the only thing that I can be said to have. And with one hand, it retrieves one of the drum mallets from its chest and holds it out.
That is very gracious, and I look forward to the day when our paths cross again, and we may play a game of chess for this merit. And I give him a salute.
It salutes back. It has been some time since I have stood beside a banner unit. Perhaps if soon as this area is secured, should you ever have need of us, you have only to summon us, and we will do our best to answer our banner's call.
It is very kind, and I am, and my friends are very fortunate to have such loyalty. Be well.
And you. And it sets the dragon chess set on a large tree root, um, arranges the pieces that have fallen over in transport, and then turns back to the patch of chewed up earth and the red caps that are uh, slumbering beneath the dirt there. With that done, you head through the kitchens back into the base of uh, the base of the dormitory tower, through the door that um, Will and Elkhorn and the others all went through, past the animated horse, which, as you walk past it, does its best to regard to reach you. It is You are well beyond its reach, since you know at this point that it is animated. However, this is the first time you've had a real good view of of the creature in its entirety. Before that, it was, through the door and ways away. And as you walk by and turn to, why can I not find this art handout? Uh, Turn to keep an eye on it, so that it does not attempt to bite you. Um, the thing that immediately jumps out. Oh, that's because it's under the creature. Um, that was sort of invisible, not invisible, but um, out of eye line previously. There is a large indentation, and I can finally find the art. Here we go. Nestled between its eyes, in the center of its head. This is what you see as you are trying to leave. The eyes are wide, and the teeth, despite the bit which is connected to its lips, its teeth are showing, and you are quite certain, given the way that it treated Elkhorn, that were you to walk too close, it would certainly attempt to bite. Um, the the paint on this rocking horse has certainly seen better days, but it is still intricately designed. The colorings have faded, but they were obviously once very very finely done, very very finely crafted. And the indentation, or rather the depression, in its head, uh, is probably the only thing that doesn't look so much. It is roughly carved, it is unpainted, and it is undecorated.
Um,
Do we want to fuck with this?
uh, who among us has the unicorn horn?
That's a good question.
One of us has it. We produce it.
Yeah.
Hinlock, I think you're the what I would have put it in the hands of.
Yeah.
He's. I will sort of gesture to this animated rocking horse and the horn. Is this yours? Has this been removed from you? Is that what that indentation is?
It gives no indication that it understands
I'm gonna cast detect thoughts.
you. The spell does not detect any thoughts within this rocking horse.
Okay. I'm gonna cast protection from evil and good on myself first in case this goes bad. Um, and then I'm going to approach with the horn and try to place the horn.
I'm going to try and sort of be in between the two of them, just so if this horse gets bitey.
The horse does try to get bitey, and it is absolutely little work for you to capture this thing to if you would like to grab it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It literally I don't think it could beat you
Right.
with its stats. Placing the severed unicorn horn into the depression on this rocking horse, the wood begins to immediately crack. The the horse stops moving, first of all, and the wood. You watch as the paint that clearly once had been fine and has now faded begins to age and crack and dry and flake away. The wood itself splinters, as though there was a great pressure on the framature of the armature of or the frame of this rocking horse. The wooden blades upon which it sits sink into the ground, and within moments, breaking out from the wooden confines of this rocking horse, a an iridescent unicorn stands in front of you. Its delicate hooves and mane are the same sparkling rainbow hue that you had seen with Lamorna at the Wayward Pool. It it eyes all of you before taking a very deep and very long breath, as though this is the first time it has breathed in ages. Like that first breath, if you've been caught too long underwater, just savoring the act of breathing almost, and looking down at you and bowing its front legs to all of you. I am Eladon. Who who are you that have freed me from Skabatha? And we will break there because it's a little past break time actually. We'll be back in 15 minutes. 'Cause we're done with Low
Yahoo!
March.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Yay.
Yahoo!
What if we had just not done that?
That there is a very solid chance that people will never see this, and it's perfectly covered.
That was so fucking cool when you described that rocking horse with that indentation in its head. I'm just like, no fucking way. I'm just sitting here freaking out.
I almost didn't believe it just because this fucking thing's been biting at us every time.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, hag magic is a hell of a thing. It's also entirely possible to destroy the rocking horse,
Oh my god.
because it does try to bite you. So it's entirely possible people will attempt to fight it.
yeah. Whew.
But excellent work, excellent work. AFK for a second. I gotta walk around. Having So- I'm sorry. It was a delayed giggle at the sound you just made, Oliver.
Mwah.
Uh, mwah. Having explored the last of Loom Lurch and said your goodbyes to um to not just the the Goblin Chucklehead and to Clapperclaw, but also to the Tin Soldiers and to the Drum Unit. You have on your way to rendezvous with Will and the rest of the Getaway Gang. Little Oak, you released the unicorn Eladon. Chat. I think about it. Probably done that well. From his imprisonment, from the curse that turned him into an animate rocking horse. He stands in front of you. Well, uh, having knelt in front of you a moment ago, he now stands with the full regalness and uh, and the full awe-inspiring appearance of a unicorn, of this celestial creature, and with the with a reverence in his voice, has requested, "Who are you that has freed me from from this curse?"
I'm Court, Banner, Arlen, Hemlock.
Under the circumstances, perhaps the most important thing to know is that we are friends of Lemurna.
Orna, my love, she is safe.
Mm-hmm.
I can never repay the gift that you have given me here, but the 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 rules of this place that bind me, I will do whatever it is that I can to assist you. You have only to name it, and I would ask you do it quickly so that I may return return to my love.
Well,
Mm.
we are actually traveling to see her. Perhaps we can discuss what we need from you once we've gotten there.
Then let us make haste. And with astonishingly silent hoof uh, the lot of you set off from Loomlurch. The 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 tree towers and fallen trunk falling away behind you. Are you heading directly to the Wayward Pool, or are you going to um, rendezvous with the Getaway Gang first? They had
Mm,
uh, they had gone off in sort of the opposite direction of the Wayward Pool. You
I
are sort
think
of smack dab in the middle at the moment.
Even though we have a unicorn with us, I still think we should meet with the Get Away gang and then all go back together.
Agreed. Let's not let the kids worry that we might have died.
Right, right. I also want to make sure they're safe and that we can all get back to the place of the, all together.
Yeah, let's do that.
Um, you set off for Little Oak, and you've only taken a few steps before you realize Eladin has not moved.
Oh.
The the Wayward Pool is this direction, the other way.
Would it be
Well,
possible? Would it be possible for you to wait for us at the Wayward Pool? We have others that we need to see.
There are children that we are taking to the Wayward Pool.
they helped us, get here and orchestrate this whole thing, so we want to meet back up with them before we bring them on over.
In fact, Lemurna offered the Wayward Pool as a sort of sanctuary for the children if we need it. She could explain further if you have questions.
I shall meet you there then. I will speak to her.
That's fair.
I was really hoping it would come with us.
Yeah, the kids would love that.
Worth a shot, am I right?
Eladon takes a few steps and then just vanishes.
Cool. Alright.
It was going to be real awkward because he can only teleport himself in 3 people. So one of you would.
That's a
would be
lot.
welcome.
The joke is on you because you may have been teleported by a unicorn, but I have this drum mallet.
Hey, I've got a new foot. I like to test it out.
You guys can walk if you want. I'd rather travel with the unicorn. Let's go see the kids.
Yeah.
It is several hours of walking through the thick trees of thither.
Just an FYI, as we're walking along, Banner, that's my name, is picking up rocks and like bits of wood and is starting to collect those.
Okay. You have a rough direction and a rough idea of where it is that Little Oak has nestled himself while he waited for the children to reappear and then ultimately for you to arrive afterwards. I should say it's about an hour of walking through the forest. The the way seems relaxed somehow. The air is there have always been birds and insects calling to each other and filling the air with a certain natural music, but somehow everything seems a little brighter. And even in the area around Loomlurch itself, where the light of the twilight sky had not reached the ground in its fullness, even that seems lighter the uh, with the death of Scabatha Nightshade. The the forest, which before had certainly been filled with the chittering of various small woodland creatures, now the air has with it a certain joviality, and you begin to see the flittering of pixie wings throughout uh, through the branches, shadowing you a little bit. and then falling away. You see a number of um, other forest fey creatures. For a while, a pair of a pair of dryads walks parallel to you, certainly far enough away that you can't really make out whatever it is that they are saying to each other as as they whisper excitedly, and then they are gone. And the last 15 or 20 minutes or so, you don't find yourself being tracked, as it were, until finally, on the edge of a small pond, um, not very, maybe only 15, 20 feet across, and certainly not all that deep. Playing in the shallows of the water is a number of the children whom you have rescued, and swinging from one of the many ropes that dangle out of Little Oak's branches, Will is the first one to spot you. And as you step out of the tree line, and towards the sparkling water of the pond, he he pulls from his belt um a a toy, a wooden sword, and holds it out as though um challenging you all with a blade, and once again calls out with um with the air of somebody who is quite sure that there is no one uh to really not put him in his place, but to admonish him, or anything like that, as he simply calls out the same way he did the first time that you all met him, and says, um "Name yourselves! Stand there or face the getaway gang!" He strikes a pose with the sword in the air and the biggest grin on his face. One hand holding onto the rope, which sways back and forth. The children playing in the water all turn to look up at you and begin to cheer.
Avast! I shall not do anything which does not meet with your approval.
We surrender!
Yeah, Hemlock just puts his hands up in the air and just smiles.
We are but lowly travelers.
We come with tokens, and he'll take out the mirror.
He tucks the wooden sword in back into his belt and hops off the rope, falls a good 10 feet into the pond with a large splash, and then hauls himself dripping from the pond, to with uh, most of the other children behind him. You do see that Brotor is not there, along with uh, Pud, the boy that was keeping vigil over him while he was sick, and the two gnomish children. Um, but the majority of the rest are there, outside. You can see, any that are not playing in the ground here. You can see peeking through the branches of Little Oak, who cracks, and the groaning of wood as he cracks a smile at all of you.
I'd like to cast mending on this mirror real quick so its surface is repaired.
Okay.
Uh,
The
oh,
good. Nope. Go ahead.
okay. And then turn it so it faces Will, and as he approaches, and just say, a portrait of the savior of Lumloch.
He puffs out his chest. Yeah, yeah, that is a noble and regal leader right there. Yep. Y'all
And
made it
I
out okay?
hand it to him, and then like flick my eyes towards Arlen.
Oh, hey!
Yeah, fits like a sock. That sounded weird. Well, the saying fits like a glove, but it's my foot, not my hand. Whatever. Forget about it. Um,
Forgot. Got what you were after, though. That's the important thing.
well, I think the important thing is, all of you kids are alive and this guy's not poisoned anymore. But it's handy. Footy. I'm gonna stop.
Banner puts a hand on Arlen's shoulder and sort of kneels down a little bit to get eye to leather disc.
It kneels down a lot.
Good. Arlen, never stop.
um, I understand the sentiment and thank you. I will try to show a little of restraint.
Boo.
Yeah, Will gives you a sidelong glance and draws his blade. We'll have none of that here. None of that. None of that nonsense. You sound like an adult. Defend yourself! And he begins to swing his wooden sword.
Arlen like instinctually reaches for his rapier and then thinks better of it and just starts like waltzing out of the way, very light on his feet, just like dancing around the blade, letting him almost hit me a lot, but like you know hopping away.
After a few moments of this of the back and forth of the fencing, Will eventually settles down, breathing a little hard, puts the sword back in his belt, admires himself in the mirror again, very briefly, and then immediately sort of flops down on the ground, cross-legged. So now what? What what's next for you grown-ups?
We're taking you over to the unicorn pond.
Cool. Okay, I guess. I mean, got Little Oak. Little Oak can go, right?
I should say so. Seeing as the Wayward Pool had been closed, secluded anyway, because of Lamorna's mourning, we found Eladon with the thanks of the horn that you offered us.
Mm-hmm. He's
To return
waiting
to
us
her
for
now.
us there.
He leans forward and uh, settles the sword across his lap, like uh, clearly imitating some like aged warrior. So the old Eladon is was still alive. Wow, I thought for sure that the old hag had killed him. Oh, man, that means there's going to be two of them. They're so stuck up. And Zener, the half orc child, immediately like pushes him into the water. Uh, it's like, they're not. They're pretty.
You'll have to be patient with them. They're ancient and powerful, you know? They
Well,
don't know how
people
to
are
have
like
fun.
that.
You'll have to take it easy on them.
Okay. All right. Um, do do you just want to do you want to ride? Little Oak can carry us.
That would be great.
Very helpful. I have quite a bit of work I have to do. And sitting down would be great. Oh, Will, we could, if you're all right, we could perhaps take some time to unravel. He sort of just trails off.
Yeah, whatever. All right, everybody, let's go. Climb up the ladders, up the ladders, up the ladders. Uh, the children do. They all begin to scamper up the rope ladders. Little Oak bends down to make them to make the trip easier on all of them.
Once we get settled, Hemlock's gonna like actually start like he has not really done this to this point, but like takes off his coat, takes off his waistcoat, undoes his ascot, and like rolls up his sleeves, and then will like prepare for work. Um, doing all this fucking identifying. The little bats like crawling around and over the stuff.
You climb up the ropes and into uh, the the branches of Little Oak, which serve as the home of the Getaway Gang. You are familiar with the trip, and on the pile of blankets behind one of the broken down couches, snoring very loudly, um is the dwarf Elkhorn, who clearly the exhaustion that he has suffered from his extended stay uh in the soaking wet hole that Scabatha had kept him in, has finally, especially with the walk to Little Oak, has caught up with him, and he is, I mean, just out. Um, the the platforms that serve as home are a little more crowded with the addition of the 11 children from Loomlurch. Each of the cots, the blankets, the sleeping bags is stuffed with more than one child. The two gnomish children are foot to foot in one of the sleeping bags, which has been, you know, fully unzipped so that it can just serve as a blanket. Um, the um, the the couch, which uh, behind which Elkhorn is snoring loudly, is host to Philomena and her halfling brother, who are each one is asleep on one of the arms of the couch, and um, uh, I want to say Rorf, and I know that that's wrong. The bugbear child who had given you the bag of dust is seated between them, head just back, head back against the back of the couch. I was right; it is Roth. Completely asleep. And as you all climb in, Will has already seated himself in his throne, air quotes throne, while the others have set about gathering baskets of fruit and other snacks to set out. So, and he throws he spins so that his back is resting against one of the arms of the chair and his legs are over the other arm of the chair. What's all this work you gotta do?
Well, we found a number of artifacts within Nightshade's study that deserve to be examined. And, well, as I said, it very well might be the case that you have incidentally found yourself under the forces of some curse, and if that were the case, we'd like to take it off of you, if you wouldn't mind.
Uh, what? I don't feel cursed.
Perhaps, I mean, we could, um, Hemlock, can you, like, identify the magic that's on Will?
I have only seen the necromancy, which is what lends me to believe curse in the first place. Transmutive, which is, albeit fascinating and could really sort of mean basically anything. And then another which I sort of have begun to associate with just ambient magic of the Feywild, be it good or bad. I have don't really know really anything about it, but I've seen quite a bit of it at this point, up until this point. Uh, but almost certainly always on anyone who has had something taken from them by a hag. And I will cast Detect Magic once again to just reaffirm that that is what I see.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking possibly casting Identify on him.
Yeah, I think that would be the next step, but we have to like make sure he's cool with that.
Yeah, that's just why I was bringing it up.
Yes, you do see the same two auras, the transmutation and necromancy magic. The signature of those two auras is the same that you have seen. Well, part of it is the same that you have seen with the magic that y- with the sort of cursing that was used on Court by Bavlorna Blightstraw.
Gotcha. Um, I could begin to identify that. Perhaps each, if this is a curse, I should be able to identify. So, given time and examination, if you're comfortable with that, Will.
Well, I mean, not if it's gonna hurt,
No, it shouldn't hurt.
because I mean, I I've been leading this gang. I'm the leader of this gang. And he sits up in the chair, attempting to look as imperious as possible, which is somewhat comical given his the fact that he's like, you know 11 and unkempt and just absolutely feral looking child almost, completely at odds with his attempts to seem stately. I won't do anything that risks the gang.
Nor would I. And I cross my heart.
So do you need me to like spit or something, or what do you need?
Well, admittedly, I haven't done this on a living person, so why don't you just sit
What?
there?
Excuse me.
I don't. It won't hurt. I'm just saying I haven't done it with someone who moves still. And he opens his book. And like, if any kid comes near that book, he shoos them away. He does not want any of these children looking into this book while he casts Identify as a ritual.
Um, you do have to shoo them off, especially the goblin child.
Once Banner sees that Hemlock is shooing kids away from the book, he'll play sort of catcher and try and
Got it.
keep these kids away.
The last thing I need is one of these kids to see something absolutely horrific, like scream at them through the pages and be scarred forever. That would be a bad look for after what I just said.
Uh, the magic settles around Will, and the two spells that are currently affecting Will are polymorph and bestow curse.
Jesus Christ. I was hoping it wasn't polymorph. I was really hoping. Fuck. All right, Will. I have indeed identified that you are, in fact, under the effects of a curse, which I can remove. And the second is that you are also transformed, though I would not know
What?
if that would be by your own will or by someone else's.
He immediately pulls back away from you. Um, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm I'm fine. I feel fine. There's nothing wrong with me.
Will, it may be the case that you are under a transformation of your own making, that you may willfully be under, but that someone has changed your thoughts. I would find it unjust and unkind for me to leave you in an altered state that someone else has put you under.
Like who I am. I lead the getaway gang. I I like this me. And he goes to climb up the ladder behind the chair and go up to his bedroom. Air quotes on bedroom. The platform where his bed is.
Arlen's gonna follow him. Climb up behind him and just start, very, softly. Look, I understand that you have a great situation that you're in here. This place is wonderful, and it's hard to think about risking losing something like that. But Will, you're not yourself right now. I don't know who you are, and maybe um, things might not be better or worse one way, but do you really think that you're going to be able to just continue on not knowing, or just knowing that whatever it is that is here is a facade? I think we should do something about this. And if it turns out that, things were one way for a reason, we can put it back. I know a little bit of transformation magic myself.
What if I'm something worse? What if I can't come back? No. No. I'm free. I have lots of friends. I have a gang. I get to I get to be me. I get to play. I get to be this. We saved those kids. What if I'm something worse? I mean,
What
if
if you're
something
just
turned
someone
me
who's
into
hiding from
this,
something? You need to confront something if you're hiding from something. Well, how long have you been part of the Getaway Gang? How long have you been 11 years old? Do you remember much before? Like,
I don't know. I got away from Skabatha, and now I'm, and then I started freeing the other kids.
look, there are two possibilities here. Either you did this to yourself, and if that's the case, you're hiding from something that you don't even remember right now. Or someone else did this to you, and if that's the case, I'm betting it was probably Skabatha, and if that's the case, this can't be the better option.
I'm pretty good like this. How can this not be a good option?
There's only one way to find out.
Make a persuasion check with disadvantage. Just make a persuasion check. Just straight persuasion check. Okay. Right, but not here. Not
I
here.
understand.
I don't. If something goes wrong,
Yeah. We'll wait until we'll get to the pool, and the unicorns will be there to make sure that everyone is safe, all the kids are okay. We can take a, find a clearing nearby, and I know I can undo these things and Hemlock, and whatever happens, we're gonna do whatever's best, um, and we'll be there.
he doesn't say anything else and just turns away, crawls into his bed, and pulls the blanket up over his head.
Mm.
You did incredible stuff today. You should be very proud of yourself. Um, I know it's kind of um, doesn't mean much to say. Try to have a good rest or sleep well. I understand these things can't be easy to rest with, but you should be proud of yourself. Okay, we'll get to the bottom of this, and things are gonna turn out okay. Okay, I'm gonna head back down, but yeah, bye. And Arlen will climb back down the rope.
Okay. What else did you need to do identify wise?
Oh boy, what do I need to do identify
Um,
wise?
Before we get into what do we want to do or what else needs to be identified, once Arlen walks back down, Banner will ask, how is Will?
He's got a lot on his mind, but I think he'll be open to us figuring some stuff out once we get to the pool.
What do you mean figuring some stuff out?
Well, trying to understand what this means.
It is sort of disorienting to find out that The environment and world that you grew up in was perhaps not what you thought it was.
Yes, but he seems to be doing quite well. He has quite a life, many friends, a safe place to live, a much safer place now that we have done away with Skevitha. Are we sure that interfering is the right decision?
The fact that he has been cursed leads me to feel as Arlen, you were happy, yes? Before you found your leg, you were well, but you said you felt like, well, there was something that was missing, and Court as well.
Well, I know what I lost. I don't know. Mm, it seems scary.
It certainly is, but it would be wrong of us to not do something when we can.
Do something about what? He, he seems to have a wonderful life.
And who's to say that removing the curse, which has some unknown cause or effect, would not fulfill his life even more?
Right? I think the same person who would say that removing the curse might make his life even worse. There's one person who can say such a thing, and that person is Will.
We can't make him do anything he won't want to do. It just feels like negligence to not try and offer our help.
Perhaps. I mean, this isn't something that we can like try and then fix if it doesn't work. You know, maybe it might be something we could ask a higher power. I don't know who we ask, but if I can have some help and perform a
Well,
ritual, and I might be able to speak with a god or
that would be
some.
wonderful. And we know that Eredon owes us a favor, and we know that Lemorna had enough power to make the Wayward Pool able to remove curses for all of us, for anyone who might be in need. And to be clear, I do not know. I am not saying it is good or bad thing to affect these changes. I just don't. I don't know one way or the other. And
And we won't know until something is done. But one thing we can assume is undoing the curse will not assuredly undo whatever transmutation has been put upon him.
well, yes, but just as an example, a hypothetical. What if a creature were dead and it were cursed to rise and roam the earth for all eternity? Then removing that curse would return that being to death? No?
I understand your sentiment, but it isn't. It is likely not the same.
Very well. It is certainly, well, Allen and Emlock and even you, Court, you all have more experience with these things than I do, and I will certainly trust your judgment. I just wanted to make sure that we considered all of the options and potential ramifications of our actions.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate it, Banner. I'm pretty lost on this one.
I
Tricky.
I unfortunately know quite a lot about curses. They are magic that is designed to hinder and harm.
Hmm.
I do not see that there is any way that this spell is anything but a cage, and undoing it means that this boy who values freedom so highly would not have more breath to stretch.
I don't know. He's happy.
Well, I mean, if I can have some help in about an hour's time, I mean, we can. I don't know who to contact. I mean, um, we're in the Feywild, so maybe something Fey. I could try to like, but who? Basically, I could get the divination spell and ask a
Mhm.
question to a god or powerful being like that.
Mhm.
Would
Um,
you be able to cast without the components?
that oh yeah, I hadn't noticed that. I would need a sacrificial offering appropriate to that god, and some incense. But
How much is the incense?
well, the total together is 25 gold, incense and a
Mm.
sacrificial offering. So
Well,
yeah, I
let
guess
me
that
check
might
the
not
party
work.
loot. Like
Well, yeah, I
it would
mean,
be up
even
to
if we
the
have 25 gold, we don't have incense. I mean,
yeah. I mean, because part of it is sacrificial. I guess we could plead to DM if we find an appropriate sacrifice at a value appropriate.
yeah,
Like if we were to give up one of these magic items or something that we've
Sacrifice.
found
We
along
we
the
just
way.
killed Scabatha. Like,
but I did that for me.
nice, nice.
Yeah,
No,
that
I
was just
mean,
for funsies.
I think the first question would be, who are we trying to contact? And the second question would be, what do we sacrifice to contact them? I mean, you know,
I don't know. I'm
Titania
not.
comes to mind, or the princess of this realm.
Want to do a religion check. I don't know.
Like Zabilna would be a good call, but I have a feeling her being in that tower is gonna make her unaccessible.
Well, that's why I was thinking like divination as opposed to just like sending. But
Right. I'm
yeah.
that still might not
Hmm.
work for the sake of
Well, because I'm just
narrative.
Right?
thinking like, I mean, what's Leander gonna do? You know?
What if we do all this and
Leander.
the god is just like, I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
it's really subjective. You gotta decide for yourself. Like,
Yeah. I think like I'm
there's no
hoping to
guarantee that
not.
they could actually
Yeah, I'm
do
hoping to
anything
not
for us.
just like ask, "Hey, should we do this?" But like, "Hey,
What's
what's
this
this spell? What
curse?
does this curse do? What is he polymorphed from? Like,
I
what
mean,
is his true form?"
we could. I just argue that I think us guessing might be just as good as a way
Yeah. Like we're at a waypoint where like narratively we have a lot of gratification if we just go with it, presuming he lets us, which it sounds like he will,
Mhm.
and we just see what happens. Um, and the alternative to that being we sacrifice half of our health potions, which is that an appropriate value to
Mhm.
maybe speak to someone to give us information that we're likely going to learn anyway.
right,
Mhm.
Which I don't think either thing is wrong. I'm just like that's kind of the decision we're making here is how do we want this information revealed to us?
right, that's my thinking is I have a guess that whatever conclusion we either get from a deity or that we guess of our own volition, it just might be similar, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think
And
like
it might not be worth it to contact a deity because the
yeah.
conclusion might just be similar because it still is probably just kind of up to us and our interpretation.
Mhm. Um.
Plus, we still can't think of like a good enough higher
Right.
power to play
Well, yeah. I
Tim.
mean, I think ultimately the combination of we don't really know what the higher power is, and we don't really know what components we have or can get a hold of that would be sufficient to cast a spell in the first place, right? Are a pretty strong indication that although it's a great idea if we had all of that information and stuff at our disposal, it's not really gonna hit the spot here.
Mhm.
In addition, I think at least for the curse, right? I think what Hemlock said is a very good point, which is,
Mhm.
and they're the curse expert here. He's the curse expert here. It's look, how many curses do good things?
Right. Like
Mhm.
when you
Yeah.
when you brought up specifically like a cursed body gets to walk the earth and is like if you
Right.
undo that curse, that means that soul gets to rest.
Mhm.
No matter how you undo a curse,
Mhm.
you're undoing a
Yeah,
curse. Like we
right,
need to
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
take it off.
yeah, yeah.
Right. I'm
I
sure.
hear you, right? I just want to point out. I mean, I realize it's a little bit different than this. It's not exactly a robot, but appealing to the machine about the soul is a little
Fair
rough.
enough.
Um,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think like I think removing the curse at this point, like okay, I guess we roll the dice and see what happens, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think Max, as your initial instinct was, I think that polymorph is more problematic.
That's
Mhm.
But
but
in the
again
same vein as the curse, the polymorph is turning them into something else, and I think returning to the true state, whatever that is, and then resolving things as it should be, everyone's going to wind up being okay. And if Will is some terrible monster that's been cursed to be an 11-year-old kid, like I don't know. I
Mhm.
still think that returning him to his natural form and going from there is the
Mhm.
is writing the order of the universe.
Yeah.
yeah, like if Will values his freedom, the thing that he should granted again he's 11, which is another
Mhm.
part of this is making this hard, but
Mhm.
like a child wants to be able to have autonomy. We can give him the opportunity to remove this curse with the honest to God truthful promise that doing so provides him greater autonomy because there's
Mhm.
no world that a curse is not inhibiting him in some way. So
Mhm.
once that's gone, he's either under the effects of a polymorph self-inflicted or it's something that was done to him. And
He
either
says he has no
way,
memories uh before Skabatha. So
exactly.
I don't
Right.
believe that this has been done by anyone but Skabatha, and so
Right.
That also sounds like a curse to me. Like
Yeah.
that could be the curse itself. Is you don't have any memories before X.
Yeah,
Right.
and I also don't think that the Getaway Gang is gonna abandon him if it turns out that he's not a cute little
Right.
11-year-old.
yeah, like part of me thinks he's just gonna be like a 40-year-old
grown
man.
man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the very obvious conclusion to come to is that he's Peter Pan in a way, and he
Yeah.
is not actually a child. Um, I think so. Just like on Court's end, I think Court is kind of like on the kind of more on Banner's side with this, where he's like, I think he's a little still kind of torn up that we killed that ghoul because he was like, well, she was alive, and so Court is like hesitant and probably won't be super in this process, but I do think narratively, like outside of Court, I do agree with you and think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I mean to be
That's
clear,
fair.
right?
And Court's not going to stop anyone. And again,
Yeah.
like Will can do what he wants.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna pick up the child and throw him into the lake. So
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I could have just cast,
I could have finished Identify and then just bopped him on the head with a remove curse, which
Yeah,
would have
and-
ended one of my charms that I have. But like, I could have just done it right then. But like, he gets to choose because that's the whole fucking point: is that he's
Yeah.
going to receive himself and his freedom by doing so.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
Right. Well, I mean,
Fucking throw
just to
this
be
kid in the
clear,
lake.
right? Just to be clear, and this is Banner's whole point. Banner still thinks we should do all this, right? But we don't know that, right? That's an assumption on our part,
Mhm.
right? And I mean, it's still the better course of action than just
Let him go.
right letting him go and being like, well, fuck it, kid, you're on your own, right? But
hopefully this doesn't bite you in the ass.
right, but I mean, by the same token, and the point that Banner's trying to make is the assumption that anything we do to remove the curses or the polymorph or anything, that they're obviously going to be better.
Yeah.
Like, not saying they're not going to be. Chances are they will, right? But that's an assumption because we don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm. But it's the more honest, like Hemlock said, like it is like regardless of the subjective negative or positive effect, it is a removal of a curse either way, and that
Oh, yeah.
itself is a
Yeah,
net
yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Kicks him in a lake.
Yeah, I mean, we were told that the lake removes curses, so like
Mhm.
you don't have to burn your charm then.
Yeah. I think that as soon as like I remembered we were going that way, I was like, oh, thank
Yeah.
God, I'm not gonna have to lose
Right.
that charm. That charm is really
Well,
good.
right. And I think right, and I mean, I think in an ideal world, like he goes for a swim in the lake, it removes the curse. Removing the curse restores his memories, so he can tell us what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome.
I think we should do that. Yeah.
You all settle in.
I hate to do this to you, Ted. I've got
Okay.
one more thing before I'm going to
Okay.
sleep.
All right.
I want to wind that frog up.
Okay.
Harold, my new friends and I are coming. Where are you? How can we find you? Stay safe.
The frog's eyes glow. It it begins to croak repeatedly over and over, croaks 25 times and then goes silent. There is no response.
It's okay, little froggy. You did your best.
Anything else before Little Oak starts moving?
Oh,
you wanna-
all the
do you wanna
fucking
identify?
identifying. Jesus
Right.
Christ.
Oh,
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have time to like hit this narrative moment, but like I do
Yeah.
have I got the blue orb, I got the bone-tipped quill and the crimson ink and the hourglass with the human eye on a string made out of hair.
okay. The quill, it is magical. It summons its own ink if it is not given any ink. Um, the the ink bottle is endless. It is a crimson ink that, as you write with it, um, goes on looking the color of blood and dries to a sepia color.
Ooh, that's awesome. Also how redundant to own both of those.
Well, I mean, the pen itself is just black ink. So if you want, you
Oh, so
have
just two
black
different
and you
colors.
have crimson. The orb. This is the most useless thing for this group, but it's off the trinket list, so I don't. It's whatever. This orb allows elves when they sleep to dream normally. It allows them to touch the
Wow.
plane of dreams, which is normally forbidden to them.
Wow.
What was the
What a
last
cool
thing?
item to have in the Feywild. The small
The
hourglass. Oh, also the rusty dust.
that is a pouch of dust of corrosion. I actually have a.
That sucks. Okay,
It,
I
it
keep
did
this
sort of
fucking away
laugh.
from Banner.
Yeah,
Keep
Banner.
that shit away from me.
There's that.
Holy
Uh,
shit.
yeah, she had stolen it in an attempt to get the chains off of her, but then you all rescued her before that was necessary. And the pendant is not a magic item in the traditional sense. That I actually have a thing here. That is the Coven's hag eye.
Oh.
Whoa. Stomp in it.
Um, well,
If
Push it
it
like a
is
grape.
destroyed, if it is destroyed, each coven member takes psychic damage and is blinded for 24 hours. So we will be crushing this.
which would be a thing, except you have slain 2 of the coven members. There is no longer a coven. There is just a hag.
Oh, dang it.
Fair enough.
But I mean, once it's like it takes the coven to create it, but once it's created, it's just kind of created.
I mean, I think the
That is
DM
certainly
did
true.
just. I think the DM just told us that destroying it would not blind the members of the coven. It blinds the coven,
Hmm.
which
Well,
the coven does not exist.
hold on, let me pull up the little blurb on hag covens, but when I was saying there's no coven, I just meant like you've killed 2 of
Yeah.
them. So as far as like there are no coven, if they can't do the coven magic, they can't do any of that stuff.
Right.
Anyway,
This is the
anything
eye
else
with
that
the
needed?
hourglass that you described as having like losing its magic. Anyways.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
It was losing its magic because 2 of the coven members are toast.
Yeah.
They are kakrunked.
I think we should probably squash it just in case.
Yes. My thought being, if it were the case that this still was connected to Endelin in an effective way, crushing it when we faced her would grant advantage.
Yeah, I just don't think that advantage is worth the chance of her spying on us. Not that I think either of those things are going to happen, but I just don't think it's worth the chance.
Banner, Court, do either of you have any thought?
Well,
Mm,
I don't see why we would not hold on to it and um, wait for an opportune time. And if it is no longer effective, then, well, it is no longer effective. But to crush it now and potentially, what good would the damage do if it is actually effective?
Wouldn't even know if it were effective if we were to crush it now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is just an eye. We could stick it in a box and put it in a
Yeah.
bag, and you know.
Well done. And I'll stow that away. It
Okay.
doesn't have like it's not like divinatory like the last one was, right?
Uh, it is in that they can choose to see through the hag's eye, and any of the
Mhm.
hags can choose to see what the hag would see. That is sort of the same effect that Skabatha had with her particular eye, which was not a hag's eye in the traditional sense of. I mean, it was
Right.
literally her eye. It was a magical prosthetic that she could remove,
Okay.
as
Well,
opposed to this particular kind of hag eye.
that should be fine. I did talk about crushing it, but I'm wearing the amulet, so yeah, we'll keep that in the bag.
To be clear, if she's looking through the eye, the amulet does nothing for you because she is not scrying on you. She is
Mm,
using the hag eye.
thank you.
Okay. I didn't want that to become like
I
I
mean,
didn't want to
like,
try to surprise that
I mean that's
later.
fair, but I mean, like, either way, like, I'm not wearing the amulet against these hags. Fuck these hags. They can see whatever they want. I've still killed 2 of them.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
You settle in to the various places around Little Oak's branches, whether casting your magic or taking a rest. You are able to get a short rest in. There will not be enough time for a long rest before you reach the Wayward Pool. Um, you feel the magical barrier wash over all of you um, as Little Oak breaks the tree line and proceeds to uh, to the long stretch of beach, which uh, which served as the sort of barrier line for Lamorna's ward. Already, you can see that where the many of the trees had been cleared, saplings have already begun to sprout. The woods have begun to reclaim some of the area that had been felled around the Wayward Pool. But the beach itself remains as serene as it was, and Little Oak wades into uh, the waters of the Wayward Pool, about 30-ish feet in, not going all the way to the island, but going far in enough that you would be undisturbed while you complete your rest. The unicorns do not appear immediately, although you do get the sense that they are watching you and simply awaiting your summons, so to speak. They they have been separated for some time, and they do sort of understand that the children are not. Um, I mean, these are mortal children to a celestial creature, so They have extended their protection around you. You are safely in the confines of Little Oak and able to make it down to the beach.
Wait to see if Will follows.
Will is still in his room, still curled up in his blanket.
My bat's gonna like flutter around near the headboard and like land on the top of it and crawl around, making weird leathery noises.
He Will sits up, uh, picks up the wooden cutlass that he had been uh, playing with earlier today, and kind of grumpily makes his way down the rope and to the beach, and sees you all there, and almost pouting, walks up onto the shore about 10 feet from you. Do we have to do this?
Not if you don't want to. But as someone who knows quite a lot about curses and where they come from and why they exist, you value your freedom, you'll at least consider. We won't make you do anything.
I don't understand. I am free. Nobody's made me do this. I I I rescued those kids from Skabatha. I there are wanted posters of me everywhere.
Well,
She couldn't catch me.
there is no doubt that you have done wonderful, amazing things. You are an excellent leader. But how can you know if you are free? You don't recall even who you are. What has come before? These are things you do not know. And without this knowledge, how can you know whether what you are doing now is of your own free will, or if you have simply been programmed to do these?
Does it matter? I rescued I rescued a bunch of people, a bunch of kids.
You are a very good person, Will, and whoever you are, your soul is still your soul. Polymorph can't change the soul that resides in a person. Um, you are you, and these actions are not, they are yours. And whatever shape you come out in, you will be you. These waters, they should remove the curse, but I do not believe they will undo the transformation. I think after you bathe, possibly you will remember and maybe then can decide whether or not to keep your shape. I think hopefully you will be able to remember how you came to be in the shape you're in.
Really think this is for the best.
I do.
All of you?
I cross my heart again.
He looks at Banner and Court.
Well, what I believe is right or wrong in this situation is immaterial.
it it boils down to your choice, you know?
We have given you the best advice that we can, and we have your best interest at heart. But
You know,
ultimately, the choice is yours.
I actually, you know what? You know something, Will? I have a good metaphor for you.
What?
I have a metaphor. You know about those?
Is it, is it like it's like a mushroom?
No, it's an imaginary thing. Okay, so pretend. Okay, so listen. Imagine there's two berries. One berry is blue, and it is like if you choose to take the blueberry, it is. Sorry. It's you get to keep living the life you're living now in blissful ignorance, but you don't get to know the truth. And if you eat the red berry, you get to live your truth, but it could be different, but it might be worth living your truth. And you have to decide. You can only take one. You have to decide which one
It's
you.
an excellent metaphor.
Yeah, I just thought of
This
that
is
just now. Isn't that
right.
crazy?
It is, and this is but a taste of the amazing metaphors that we are. We always have access to them because Court travels with us, so there's more for us.
Oh, really? I think this is the first one
Oh
I
my
ever
god,
talked with
Adam!
in my entire life. But thank you. I appreciate it anyways.
Okay. The first one was bad. That takes the cake, sir. Not you, Oliver. The Morpheus.
Right. I mean,
Oh,
we've
God.
all met. Like,
All right. Okay.
You want to know something? I
please.
didn't understand atoms because I haven't seen The Matrix ever in my life.
Oliver, I
Fantastic.
love you so much.
So fucking beautiful.
Ooh.
He looks at each of you in turn.
And turns into Agent Smith.
I like the things the way they are now, but if you think that this is for the best, if you think I should bathe in these waters, I will, but I just I, I if you think it's for the best.
And nods solemnly. Red berry.
We'll be here for you. Whatever happens.
Will walks back into the water, about 5 or so feet out, and uh, drops beneath the surface of the water. The fog that settles, that has always been at the edge of the wayward pool, obscures him from your sight until the shape that reappears, a towering, dark-skinned shape with long white hair and huge tusks, comes barreling out of the water, charging at you. How could you do this to me?
You look great.
And we are going to call it there.
Oh, uh-oh.
It's 1 a.m.